This ON AM and FM forecast brought to you by Blaze Insurance, where choice and service matter for over 100 years. Visit online at blazeinsurance.com or call 725-0070 for a free quote today. Increasingly cloudy today with a high near 31 degrees. Chance of snow after 5 p.m. Half an inch of snow during the daytime hours is possible. Tonight, snow till 3 a.m., then possibly mixing with sleet. Overnight low of 26 degrees. New snow and sleet accumulation of 3 to 5 inches possible overnight. Sunday's weather, rain and freezing rain mixing with sleet, becoming all rain after 10 a.m. High of 40 degrees. Sunday night, rain continues, changing over to snow around 1 a.m., overnight low of 21 degrees, west winds to 35 miles per hour. Little or no accumulation is expected. Monday, Washington's birthday, partly sunny skies, 29, but with winds over 40 miles per hour from the west. Tuesday, mostly sunny, high of 25. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high of 29. Wednesday night, a chance of snow. Thursday, snow is likely, mostly cloudy, high of 30, north wind. Thursday night, snow continues, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 19. And on Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 34 degrees.
And currently outside the Navigating Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have 28.9 degrees. And good morning and welcome to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. I'm Kevin Callahan along with my co-host Pat Holland. Today we have a very special in-studio guest. We have the Providence Bruins play-by-play announcer Austin Rook. Welcome, Austin. Thanks for joining us in the Cheap Seats this morning.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
No problem. This is going to be fun. So, Austin, he started to tell you that, we hit the local stuff, jump in on that, but we'll get your hockey expertise going a little bit later in the show. And as you listen to the show, if you want to join us in the Cheap Seats at 401-766-1240, give us a call here at WOON Radio. I hope you're ready to talk some Four Nations hockey, some Providence Bruins, some Boston Bruins. We've been trying to fix the Boston Bruins all year, so maybe you can, Austin.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be above my pay grade, but we'll see.
All right, so I'll jump right into it. Last night, Earl Timberlake and Barry Evans each posted double-doubles as the Bryant basketball team raced to an 88-66 victory over NJIT. Sorry, that was on Thursday night at the Chase Athletic Center. With the win, the Bulldogs moved to 16-10 overall. More importantly, 10-1 in America East play. Black and Gold wrap up their weekend with a home game versus UMBC today at 1 o'clock. Timberlake, 21 points, 10 boards. Evans, 15 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals. Connor Withers, 12 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. Kevon Kramer, 12 points. Raphael Pinzon, 11 points, all finished in double figures. Pinzon, over 1,000 points with a second half three-pointer. So congratulations to Pinzon for going over 1,000 points. Bryant has 5 conference games left in the season. Today at home, followed by 3 on the road, including at Maine and at Vermont, who are in second place and third place, respectively. 1 and 2 games behind Bryant for first place before finishing at home against UNH on Tuesday night, March 4th at 6. Quarterfinals begin Saturday, March 8th in America East at the highest seed. Semifinals will be Tuesday, March 11th, with the championship game at the home of the highest remaining seed on Saturday, March 15th. Winner getting an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Runner-up goes to the not invited tournament of the NIT.
Yeah, and URI 16-8, 5-7 in the conference. Winners 68-64 versus St. Bonaventure Wednesday night. Look to keep things going today at 4 over at the Ryan Center. URI making news this week for the wrong reasons. University of Rhode Island freshman forward Tyrone Farrell will step away from the basketball program. Head coach Archie Miller announced Monday. Farrell had been in the starting lineup for much of the season. There's no timetable for his return. In addition, Moik Ik, URI's 7'1" center from Purmerend, Netherlands, returned to his home.
That's why I gave you this one, Pat.
Yeah, thanks. Returned to his home country for medical reasons. Ick was redshirting, intending to spend the season practicing and developing with the team.
So I think of those two, it seems like, Ick might be back next year. I have no idea what's going on with Miller, and all the URI will say is he's stepped away from the program. So Brown University now 11-10 overall, 3-5 in the Ivy League. Tried to snap a 2-game losing streak last night at home to Princeton and did just that, picking up a wire-to-wire 70-56 win over Princeton, who is now 5-3 in conference, 16-7 overall. At the Pizzitola Sports Center, Keno Lilly Jr. led the Bears offensively, 17 points on 5 of 11 shooting from the floor, 3 of 8 shooting from three-point land, and Nifamaro Dabo chipped in with a career high 13 points on 4 of 7 shooting from the floor to go along with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 blocks. Brown gets right back at it again today on the campus as they host Penn at 6 o'clock tonight. The Ivy League playoffs, unlike the other leagues, only have 4 teams to get the automatic qualifier coming out of the Ivy League. Brown right now has 6 games left to try and make it into the top 4 and get into the playoffs March 15th and March 16th. As it stands right now, Yale's 8-0, so let's just give them first place. 3-way tie for second at 5-3 with Princeton, Cornell, and Dartmouth all bunched up. 2 games out of the last playoff spot comes Brown and Harvard at 3-5, and then followed by Penn at 2-6 and Columbia at 1-7. So, big game today. Beat Penn like you're supposed to on paper, and hopefully one of those other teams loses. I mean, what a sweet opportunity for Brown if they can have Ivy League playoffs at home, especially after what they did last year as the 4 seed. So.
And then PC 11-14 overall, 5-9 in the Big East. They're home today versus Villanova. At 6, the Friars were retired. Billy Donovan's number 34 at the half. Donovan, in his 4 years at PC, averaged 20.6 points per game and famously led PC to their last Final Four appearance in 1987. PC has 5 games left after tonight before the Big East tournament begins. Tough season for PC and Coach Kim English, as PC has lost 4 in a row, including a 91-82 Wednesday night to Xavier at home, a game where Coach English was shown the door after picking up 2 technical fouls.
Also, ask you a quick question, if you mind. What you were at that game for PC? What exactly did Kim English do? To be fair, I didn't watch the game. What did he do to pick up the tees? Just arguing?
Well, the first one was him complaining about the Xavier assistants being close to the court, and the referees were telling PC staff to sit down, but not the Xavier coaches. So Kim drew the ire of the of referee Brent Hampton on that one and got swiftly teed up. And then I think the second one was early in the second half, and I think he had just had enough at that point, and his team was getting blown out by about 25, and he was had enough of seeing what he was seeing, and he complained about a soft foul call and said the magic word to the referee and got shown the door.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Was it a ploy to maybe fire up the team? And I guess it worked a little bit.
Well, the first one was when the team was up 16-5.
Yeah, so that's.
And then immediately Xavier took all momentum, went on like a 24-0 run after that.
Yeah.
And then the second one he had seen enough at that point.
So it's talking off here too about PC. It's the team I grew up watching. My brothers, my dad all watched it. So a little bit of grumblings with my friends on Kim English, but I think everyone's in agreement. You definitely bring it back next year. Let the Ed Cooley guys factor out, see what Kim English can bring in for his recruits. Get a healthy Bryce Hopkins back, hopefully next year. Does Abdur Jaheim, can he come back, or is he done now?
He's done.
He was a graduate student, so we'll see what they got coming back next year as well. So switching gears over to hockey, Brown hockey last night versus Cornell at home and lost big by a score of 6-1. Head coach Brendan Whitted was none too pleased after the game, saying, "I'm not pleased with what I saw out there. I still like the team. It's a good team, but that was not a good team effort tonight. We cut a lot of corners, and as such, we got beat by a really good hockey team. Unacceptable in our home barn in a huge game. It won't happen again." Brown will play Cornell at home again tonight at 7 o'clock, and Brown playing out of the ECAC. ECAC is way down this year, and they do send an automatic qualifier in, so I don't have the ECAC playoffs and the seedings in front of me, but that would be an opportunity for Brown if they can get hot, because only Quinnipiac is ranked right now in the ECAC, and everybody else is out of the top 16, if not down to the 20. So go ahead, Pat. I'll give you the good news on PC.
Number 7, PC hockey. They played number 9 BU last night at home and defeated them 6-3 at Schneider. Huge win for PC with just 6 games left before the postseason begins. They needed a good win. Playing BU coming off a 4-1 Beanpot Championship win over number 1 BC was exactly what the doctor ordered. Providence College had been playing well, but had just 1 clean win in their last 8 games. They've played some ties, some shootout losses, but that win should go a long way for their confidence. Alexander Bales posted a career-high 4 points in the win with a goal and 3 assists. Same 2 teams play at Aganis tonight at 7.
Yeah, it's look it up. They had the win over UConn about 3 games ago. Before that, it was January 9th or 5th against Brown in the Mayor's Cup. They hadn't lost their number 7 spot in the overall rankings because they've been playing these teams so close, and but they haven't moved up either. So it's good to see. And speaking of the Beanpot, it looked like both BC and BU are suffering some Beanpot hangovers last night. As Boston College lost to UMass last night 3-2 at home at Conti Forum.
Go UMass.
Your UMass Amherst guy. BU, as previously mentioned, losing to PC 6-3. Northeastern also an upset, beating UMass Lowell. We'll get into that, why that's a big upset in a bit. Vermont beat Merrimack 4-2. Both teams are probably out of it. UNH and Maine, but Maine wins in a shootout, 2-0 in the shootout. They skated to a 1-1 tie. So as we like to go around Hockey East in the pairwise rankings. So, Pat, you want to take over the polls?
Yeah, currently Boston College ranked number 1 in the nation, Maine at number 5, Providence at number 7, BU at number 9, UConn at number 11, U Lowell at number 13. The all-important pairwise rankings, which is the best indicator of who will make the 16-team NCAA tournament. BC remains number 1, Maine at number 4, PC at 6, BU at 8, UConn 10, UMass Amherst at 11, UMass Lowell at 13. So 6 automatic qualifiers. That leaves 10 at-large teams. The 6 conferences are the Atlantic Hockey League, the Big Ten, the ECAC, Hockey East, NCHC, and the WCHA. By that rationale, both UMass teams could be on the outside looking in, depending on what happens in the tournaments.
Yeah, so interestingly, UMass Amherst made a big jump. I think they were ranked 18th in the poll, but they get all the way up into number 11 in the pairwise. And you really want to be in that top 10, top 11, depending on who the automatic qualifiers are. So UMass Lowell, that's why that loss last night to Northeastern 2-0 really hurt UMass Lowell. Northeastern's way down this year. And that's a big loss. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Austin, who's going to wrap up last night's Providence Bruins game. And then we're going to get into all things hockey. Who are the Providence Bruins prospects? Who are the Boston Bruins prospects? And we're going to get traded. 4 Nations tournament in Montreal tonight. So a couple of huge games. So, and if you have a thought or have a question for Austin or have a thought on anything hockey related, maybe Super Bowl or Red Sox as well, feel free to give us a call, 401-766-1240. We'll be right back in the cheap seats right after these messages.
ON 1240.
The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasker Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Invista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasker Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, TaskerBuickGMC.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasker Buick GMC, you will be satisfied.
At North Smithfield Urgent Care and Lincoln Urgent Care, you'll always be seen by a board-certified physician who'll diagnose your minor illness or injury. Their services include treatment for flu, fractures, rashes, ITU infections, and work-related injuries, plus physicals, vaccinations, and drug screening. North Smithfield Urgent Care, Great Road, North Smithfield, and Lincoln Urgent Care, Wake Robin Road, Lincoln. X-ray and lab on premises.
If your garage door needs replacing because of wear, performance, or appearance, think of Woonsocket Door Sales, your complete overhead door facility for installation and maintenance, including framework repair and security. Woonsocket Door Sales features important information about security on their website. For attached garages, be safe with a good deadbolt lock or door monitor. And remember, detached garages often contain valuable tools and recreation equipment. Woonsocket Door Sales since 1935. 1 Biltmore Avenue, Cumberland. 767-3448.
Local and live at 99.5 FM.
And welcome back to the Chief Seats with Pat and Kevin. I'm Kevin Callahan along with Pat Holland. We are joined by play-by-play announcer of the Providence Bruins, Austin Rook. Austin, I guess you were at the game last night for Providence Bruins, right?
Yeah, big win.
So what happened last night?
5-1 victory. Teams really responded well since the new year. Started out slow during the course of the year, but really picking it up, and it's a tough Atlantic Division this year, but they're holding serve with seeing some guys called up, battling some injuries, have been really thin on defense for the most of this year. A couple of guys up in Boston that they expected to be in Providence most of the year, so they've been working their way through
Callahan got called up, right?
Callahan, Osterley. Even Parker Wotherspoon. Guys who kind of expected to be in Providence for a little bit of the year.
How the crowd's been down in Providence so far?
Crowds are down a little bit this year. I think that's kind of a league-wide thing. But Providence is always top 10 in the league in attendance, and that's no different this year. They're doing really well with all their promo nights and everything like that. I don't know if you guys saw the themed jerseys
last
that
night,
he was
right?
wearing last night.
Rhode Island, was it Rhode Island Comic Con?
It's Rhode Island Comic Con. Yeah, so it's Rhode Island Comic Con weekend over at the AMP, and they're wearing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed jerseys. So that's going to be really fun to try and spot the numbers, but
right.
But
Pat and I do some high school.
I dig the jerseys.
Yeah,
I dig them.
You did them.
we have an appreciation for uniforms now, based
we
trying
do
to call
high
football
school
games
football for ON. We do some stuff in Massachusetts. It's like, oh, please, athletic directors, just give us big numbers. We don't care what you do with the numbers. I mean, with the uniforms, big numbers.
Black uniforms with gray numbers.
Oh my gosh, yeah, with dim lighting for a night game.
I've seen some doozies in the last 6 years for sure.
So
Riley Duran had 2 last night.
Yep. Yeah,
I believe he's a PC kid, right?
Oh yeah.
Local.
Wilbur, Massachusetts, and former Friar, of course, with Mike Callahan as well on the roster.
Yeah.
A couple of Friars on the P Bruins roster, but it's always good to see a little local flair. But 2 goals for a guy that plays a lot of third, fourth line minutes for the team.
Right. Good to see that.
Gritty player.
Love to see the local guys.
He's a winning type player too.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Before we dig even deeper, your thoughts on the Super Bowl last week? Were you happy? Were you mad? Pat and I different. He picked the Eagles. I picked the Chiefs, so I lost.
Is indifferent an acceptable type of?
That was the
type of
original.
answer?
I said if they both could lose, it would be great. But
I did say in the third quarter, we had a little Super Bowl gathering. I said, "Okay, it's all set. Philadelphia won. Can we go back to hating Philadelphia again?"
Yeah, right. No, okay. Well, I'm kind of with you. Like, I was happy the Eagles won. I didn't want to see history.
Right, exactly.
But being a Patriots fan, but
yeah,
I thought that even though it was a blowout, it still found a way to be entertaining. I mean, since really the Patriots played the Rams a few years ago in the Super Bowl and won 13-3, you probably haven't seen a defense dominate as well as Philly did during the game.
Yeah,
I was shocked to see that the Eagles didn't even blitz once in the whole game and then put that kind of pressure on Mahomes.
Yeah, you get enough. Well, it's what happened with the Giants against Tom Brady a couple of times in the Super Bowl too. You get pressure with pressure with 4.
You don't need
you don't need exactly, and you're gonna create a lot of problems.
It's funny. It's interesting. I did hear. I think Mahomes. They were interviewing after, and he did make a statement that I thought was pretty good. Where he said, "I have to be able to, stay composed in the pocket and make more fundamental plays as a quarterback."
Do you think he meant he rushed himself and
we all know he can get out and he can make these crazy plays, but can he stay in the pocket and make a fundamental QB play? And he says, I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to stay in the pocket, step up, move away from pressure, and make a fundamental play.
Yeah.
So I thought for him to come out and say that spoke volumes.
Absolutely. So, and the other big news while we got you here is to the Alex Bregman to the Red Sox. Your initial thoughts on that? Are you excited? Pat and I haven't even discussed it yet as well because it's just Wednesday night. I think it was, right?
Wednesday night. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
I think that it was much needed to sort of light a fire under the fan base a little bit because now you've gone from having an upstart team that is looking to improve on an 81-81 record from last year,
right,
where you can see the pieces and see where this might be a playoff team, to where you might be able to see this team winning the division this year. Because think about what the Yankees lost. Now they brought in Devin Williams, and Cody Bellinger, and Paul Goldschmidt, and all these other guys. But the Red Sox have really countered with Garrett Crochet and Walker Buehler and now Bregman and
they got the kids, and then the kids coming up at some point.
And all three of them are going to contribute at some point this year.
Right. I think the initial indication, we talked to Bill Wanless a couple of weeks ago. Marcel, he wants all three in Worcester, just for the attendance.
Oh, yeah, of course.
As they start in March. But Conventional Wisdom kind of like has Marcelo Meyer is starting in Worcester because he was hurt last year.
Yeah,
and
he hasn't
then,
had a full season.
Well, I think all three of them will probably start in Worcester.
And they said the only one that might
Maybe
have a
Campbell.
chance, Christian Campbell might have the chance to break camp, but he's
funny,
not going to play regularly.
I heard, I forget where I heard it, but they had mentioned, there must have been a conversation about these three guys not all being able to play at the major league level now, right? Like in the chances of them all being able to play and actually hit now are slim to none. So that probably opened up the dialogue. It's like, we need to go out and get a guy on a 3-year with options like this, even if we have to overpay, right? Because these three guys aren't going to step in and be, the
I don't think.
The beauty of it now is that you've got depth in both the rotation, where you've got the 8 or 9 starters
Legitimate
if you get down
starters,
to AAA,
yeah.
where you can call on them if need be, and then you've got the guys in the infield and the outfield that can,
And even Raphael, I mean, he played, 60, 70 games in the infield and 60, 70 games in the outfield last year. So, I mean, when Trevor Story goes down, you can bring in Raphael out of there. Christian Campbell might go.
And they still have some flexibility, too. Like,
Bregman was a college shortstop, too.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Could they move Yoshida out?
Yeah. To go
is he an odd man out now? And then, there has to be a discussion about,
because I still think they could
is
use
Devers
a
a third baseman or is he not? I don't think he is. So,
but right now, but Costa's at first, and will he accept a role at DH if you move Bregman to third? So there's lots of still.
Or do you move Devers
or
to
do you
DH?
move? Yeah,
but will he accept the DH role?
That's a lot of money to pay for a DH.
And it is. I mean, they did it with Ortiz, but Ortiz has a different.
It's good to have options.
Different resume than Rafael Devers.
The beauty, to sum it all up, though, the beauty of it is that this team has depth across the board now, and you couldn't say that in the last couple of years. Like
exactly.
This team should have Red Sox fans excited.
And this is the first time people are talking Red Sox in February in a long time, since after COVID. Anyway.
With positive connotations.
Positive connotation, exactly. No, great point. So, all right. So we brought you in, Austin, to talk some Providence Bruins, some hockey.
Yeah.
So basically, let's learn a little bit about you. It's you're the Providence Bruins play-by-play guy, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got that job, career aspirations, and all that good stuff. So,
So I am born and raised in Rhode Island. I went away for 5 years to school in Wisconsin and then came back 2018. Got a job with the Bruins as a salesman first, and then
Boston or Providence?
Providence.
Okay, yep.
And then I transitioned into being their broadcaster in 2019, and have rolled with that ever since. I rolled with calling games up in a youth hockey arena in Marlborough, Mass.
Oh, that's center with the 8 rinks.
Oh yeah, and in front of no fans. I'll tell you what, it was my best broadcast vantage point I've ever had. Right at center ice.
Exactly.
Brilliant. It is not that when we're calling the games over at the amp. But
how high up are you at the amp? The top floor?
Up above section 207 in the corner.
Okay. Ooh.
It's I've gotten used to it. It's really not bad. There are some bad ones in the AHL, but it is not one of them. But I've been doing that now for the last 6 years, and it's been a blast. I've done probably about 130 AHL games now.
Okay.
Because I only do home games, and because of work commitments and other things, like I'm only doing Saturdays and Sundays for the most part, sprinkling in a Friday when I can.
Okay.
But it's been a blast.
Yeah. Do you have a broadcast partner, or are you doing the game solo?
Just me.
Solo. That's
Where do I send my resume?
It's
aspiring
color
guy.
That's hard to do. Hockey, I think is. I've done a couple high school hockey games, and basketball, football, baseball, and hockey is by far the toughest.
Well, it's fast paced. It's
so
quicker,
fast.
much quicker.
It feels
Changing
like
on the fly.
Oh yeah.
To
You
call
don't
it
have the timeouts and that.
to call it effectively, aren't you like a second behind the play? Because you're kinda
Sometimes, yeah.
telling everybody what just happened because it's so fast. It's,
Yeah.
It's
You can't see the puck half the time.
Right. I would imagine you're calling from the monitor for the most part, right?
I don't have any monitors.
No
in front of me.
monitor at all. So
You're
you're
in the corner. Wow.
No, we're in the auxiliary press box up there at the
you're
amp.
not,
So
not super high, but
Yeah, it's not like the Boston Garden where you're up on the TD Garden where you're up on the 9th floor.
no,
it's not that high,
it's doable.
Yeah.
No, I mean yeah. Sometimes you're trailing the puck a little bit.
Right.
But, it's fine. You gotta have good eyes.
Good idea. And not have a cold during hockey season, right?
right.
Yeah, that would help too, wouldn't it?
So, all right. So let's just jump right in. Very exciting going on right now with the Four Nations tournament. What are your thoughts on the Four Nation tournament? After one game for each team, what do you think of the four teams? Start with any team you'd like.
Well, I mean, outside of Finland, I think it's been pretty competitive. And Finland's just been ravaged by injuries, but
Right.
I think it's been very competitive. I expected it. These guys really want it, which is just really nice to see, especially during an All-Star break when you have a guy last year during the All-Star break dogging it, and Nikita Kucherov during the skills competition. It's kind of the antithesis of that this year.
Right.
So it's really cool to see, and I like how they're sort of getting on a regular schedule of things now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to continue on with the Four Nations talk. I know one of our naysayer callers last week. I want to bring up what your thoughts are on what he said about the tournament as well. So when we come back, we'll continue with Austin Ruck here in the Chief Seats on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, and with SocketRadio.com. We'll be back right after these messages.
OM 1240.
State Line Service and Tire Center is a third-generation family business that believes in repairing your vehicle properly and efficiently the first time. In addition, they provide a full complement of preventive services like checking batteries, belts and hoses, exhaust, headlight restoration, emission testing, and engine light pop-ups. Their ASE certified technicians are right up to date with the latest technology. Vehicle problems are their business. State Line Service and Tire Center, 1209 Social Street, Woonsocket, 765-0146.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Service Master by Gilmore. From water and fire damage restoration to mold remediation and emergency cleanup, we've been restoring peace of mind for over 40 years, now proudly serving all areas, including our newest service location in Rhode Island. No job is too big or small. Day or night, we're here for you. Call Service Master by Gilmore at 1-800-783-0552 or visit us at the web, www.servicemasterrestore.com. Restoration done right every time.
The world-class distributor of all things electrical is Electrical Wholesalers. They are a full-service electrical distributor with branches throughout Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. Locally, they're at 113 Clinton Street next to KFC here in Woonsocket, with other locations in Cranston and Franklin, Massachusetts. Electrical Wholesalers provides the highest quality service to electrical contractors as well as residential, commercial, and industrial customers. Electrical Wholesalers is open Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Visit ew-ne.com. Electrical Wholesalers.
And welcome back to the Chief Seats with Pat and Kevin. I'm Kevin Callahan along with Pat Holland in studio. We have Austin Ruck. We're just starting to talk about the Four Nations tournament. And if you have any thoughts on the Four Nations tournament or any hockey questions, sports questions in general, give us a call, 401-766-1240. So as we get going, did you get a chance to see the USA game over Finland?
Yeah, I did.
And wow, what do you think?
It couldn't have sort of set the scene better for coming up tonight with USA Canada
Yeah.
than a Canada team that very well could be playing for their tournament lives tonight.
Yeah,
as
because
well,
they only got
depending
2 points instead of the 3.
Well, and Sweden-Finland is before it.
Right.
If Sweden
So
wins,
they'll know what they need.
if Sweden wins, they have 4 points, and if Canada loses to the U.S. in regulation, they're done.
Right. Yeah, because Canada will have who do they have on Monday? They'll have
They'll
Finland.
have Finland on Monday.
And USA has Sweden on Monday, so it could get very, very interesting. Very nicely.
Interesting, very fast. Yeah. The way that the U.S. responded, especially in the beginning part of that third period, was impressive.
Well, it was weird. Like when the game started, was it Finland's first shot on net beat Hellebuck in net, and Connor Hellebuck, who plays like 65, 70 games a year, he's the most conditioned goalie, and that was a pretty soft goal that he gave up. I was like, oh no.
Well, that was him, but that was him in the playoffs last year for Winnipeg too. I mean, they won the first game against Colorado 7-6, and then they got blitzed in four games in a row, and Hellebuck was not good.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh boy.
What
do we have going on
Is
here?
he a regular season goalie, or
But then,
is he a
credit to him, he was able to find his game.
He responded well, and then the team really responded well. I mean, they blitzed them early in the third period too with the lead, and just really, put them away. Exciting. You want to take the Olympics question? See what? Let you ask the question. Here I am. I always
go ahead.
All right. Well,
I don't have it up,
the Olympics next year are in Milan, and they just made the announcement. I think this was Thursday. The World Cup of Hockey is returning in 2028. So starting, I guess, next year in a way, but every 2 years now, there's going to be an international tournament in season featuring, they hope, 8 countries in the World Cup of Hockey to expand on the 4-nation tournament. I'm assuming 8 countries in the Olympics as well. What are your thoughts on the World Cup of Hockey? Do you even remember? You probably don't even remember the last one. I think it was in...
the last one would have been 2016.
There was a World Cup. Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the one in '96 then.
But
so
I would have been one.
So you don't even recall.
But I think it's great having a regular schedule of international events. I mean, best on best hockey is what everyone wants to see.
Yep.
Right.
Especially during these lulls in NHL action, right? I mean, you're not going to watch game 49 of the NHL season, but you're going to watch the Connor McDavids of the world against the Kachuk brothers and and all the guys on Sweden and Finland and eventually Russia again, and then the Czechs, and Germany has 2 superstars in the NHL right now.
Right.
So 3. The more teams you can get in it, the more exposure you can get and grow these international markets, the better.
Yeah, and they're leaving the option open for Russia as well to see how things play out politically. They would love to get the Russian hockey players back in it. So they're even leaving that slot open next year for the Olympics, and they already said for the World Cup in 2028. Well, we'll see what happens in the Olympics on what we can do. So one of the naysayers, Buddy Moose, who hasn't called in yet today, but Buddy Moose last week called in 100% against the tournament. He even emailed me this week with defenseman Shea Theodore hurt early in the game for Canada and is now out for the 4-season tournament. What do you say, Austin, to the naysayers worried about the injuries in these types of tournaments?
Do you not like fun?
Right. It's like these guys could trip walking down the stairs in the hotel, right? Right. So
you could slip and fall in the shower, and and the same thing could happen. You could be out week to week.
We've seen guys in sports like
Red Sox had a pitcher, Paxton Crawford, who
fell out
of bed
and landed on a glass, right? Is that what?
I think there's more to the story, but
right?
Literally hurt sleeping and pretty much ended his career. But
there have been guys that have thrown out their back sneezing.
Exactly. And as we discussed last week, this hockey, I think, more than the other sports, more than basketball, more than football, more than baseball, where they reluctantly go into the World Baseball Classic. You see what's going on with the All-Star game with basketball. It's just it's going to end up being another 200. However they're doing their format, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, but those other tournaments are outside of the normal season,
right?
So like the baseball classic is like
March.
So they're not even in their top form yet, right? So but that's why I like to have an in-season tournament like this, and even when the Olympics is, it's in February.
We do have a phone call. Let's go to the line. We'll see who's there. Hello, you're on the line.
My name was just mentioned a few seconds
How you doing, Moose? We oh, sorry. Can you say that again? Yes. Hey, Moose. We brought you up a few seconds ago.
Yeah, I heard it. And good morning to you, Kevin. Good morning, Pat. And good morning, Mr. Rook.
Good morning.
Good morning. I like your father's column in Sunday Providence Journal, by the way.
We expect to have John on in a couple of weeks. We're just trying to find the perfect time to have John on. So, yeah, no, he writes a good column, and John's been
Right,
around
just
for a
got a
long
couple
time.
of questions for you, Austin. First of all, I overheard you saying you just do play-by-play. There's no analyst in the booth. You're solo. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
For now.
That seems to have its advantages in one way or another. So that you can do both, I suppose. Are you comfortable with that, or if they would have somebody else in the booth with you? How does that work out, Austin? Are you comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that because I've gotten used to it. I occasionally will have an analyst with me, but for most of the time I'm a one-man band. It's just what I'm used to, and sort of have gotten used to it.
Play and color.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah,
speak.
believe it or not, I've got to study double time in prepping for games
necessity.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Look, briefly, Four Nations back, which is certainly the topic in the last few days, and everybody is for it. I mean, competition is great. Everybody's for it, and everybody loves it. The analysts, the reporters.
Except for you, Moose.
The only thing I don't like about it, and to me it's a standout reason, is the timing of it, Austin. I don't like it happening in the middle of the season because your best players are going to put out their best effort and risk the fact of getting injured. And that certainly does not hold well with the owners. My contingency is this should have been held at the end of the season with the tournament. The All-Star break, it says, well, it's taking the place of the All-Star break. No. The All-Star break is just one game, and the players just go out there and skate around and shoot pucks at the net. Nobody could care. But this here
Exactly.
adds a little pizzazz to it. And now you're playing for your country and everything else, so you're going to put out 100%. And by doing so, you are putting out the risk of being injured and out for the year, which I don't think would sit well with the owners, especially with a team headed into the playoffs. That's my contingency, is the timing of this.
So what do you think, Austin? How would you address Moose's concerns?
Well, if you do it at the end of the year, everyone's probably going to get more injured because you've got half the guys that have been sitting out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. If you do it at the beginning of the year, you've got guys that haven't ramped up their training regimen yet during the course of training camp. I mean, last time they did a best-on-best tournament, it was in October.
But at the end of the year, Austin, if somebody gets hurt, I mean, they got the entire offseason to heal. If this happens during now, then sorry, buddy, you're gone for the last 6 or 8 weeks of the season, and we need you.
Depending on the injury.
Well, of course, the injury is going to be severe now. This Theodore injury, I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's his wrist or his forearm. If it's his wrist, that's no good.
He was holding his arm. I hadn't heard. The only thing I've heard, and I checked a lot of
He's
sites.
week to week.
Yeah, it's
Week to week, but it
That's
gives the
no
Vegas
good.
Knights the perfect opportunity to use the loophole with the long-term injury. They'll set him in long-term injury, and then they'll bring him back for the playoffs.
just like Tampa Bay.
And they'll
did a
keep
few
the
years
player.
ago.
They'll keep the
Just
player
like
that they
Vegas did
picked
with
up.
Mark Stone last year.
Well, stay tuned. That's all I can say is stay tuned. A wrist injury is bad. I know that in any sport.
It's one, it's obviously Moose. The owners signed off on this. It's part of their collecting bargaining agreement.
That's
There's
a
money in it
question
for the
mark.
owners.
Yeah.
I wondered if they totally agreed in it. If they did, then I have to raise my eyebrows on that and say,
Well,
really?
but to that point, Moose, two points I have. They just made the announcement that starting in 2028, the World Cup of Hockey is coming back, which is the big international tournament. And then, as we mentioned last week, and I just used Chara. I don't know why, as it comes to mind. Bruins get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. Zdeno Chara is on a flight halfway across the country to go play for Slovakia. So these guys, all they do is skate. They'll shut it down for a couple of months, but when their season ends, if they don't make the playoffs, they're going across the pond to go play in the IIHF Worlds.
Sure,
So they're already doing that. So for your end of the year thing, well, there's already a tournament.
In the NHL, you're under a huge contract, and that's where some clauses do not fit with this timing of the Four Nations. Now, that's my opinion, gentlemen. Yeah. I've taken enough of your time. We'll talk about the Red Sox next week.
That sounds good. And go USA against Canada.
Oh, boy, I tell you.
Tune in tonight, Moose.
Tune in tonight. Drive up the ratings.
They're wrapping the players in bubble right now. So
yes, exactly. Moose, have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
The Mighty Moose joining us. We started comparing him to Frank from Gloucester the other day. Very passionate about his sports. But I think you realize he's swimming up against the stream now. It's the people of it. The players really want this more than the basketball players, more than the baseball players. The NHL players truly want this tournament. Agreed?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, they've been fighting for the Olympics.
They wouldn't be doing it. Well, that's a really good point. Is because this is a showcase essentially for the Olympics a year from now, which is, a more important tournament and more teams and more exposure for a lot of these young. Think about it. I mean, last time the USA played in a best-on-best tournament, they didn't win a single game, and none of the guys that played for Team USA are on this current USA team. You've got guys that are 20, 21 years old on this USA team, including a local guy and Matt Boldy from the Minnesota Wild, and he wants to play in the Olympics next year, and that's a really good start for him. Tipping that goal from Brock Faber and getting the goal for USA the other night, and he might be one of those guys that Canada's going to key in on the Kachucks.
Right.
He might be one of those guys you need to step up tonight and pop up with a goal.
Yeah.
So, look at a guy that wants to make the Olympic roster. That's the guy you're looking at right now,
and these guys, and again, maybe I'm just comparing the other sports too much because they do it in soccer. They love playing for their country in soccer. But of the four major sports, and take football, they don't have the opportunity to play for their country. But the hockey guys, they wear the pride of their country. What'd you say?
Flag football is going to be the next
flag
Olympics.
Football, yeah. Not go there. I mean, have a good time with it. But
Tyreek
these hockey guys want to play. Tyreek Hill signed up for flag football.
Oh, he'll be there.
It's a conversation for him.
Yeah, we'll touch base.
Getting off the rails now, but these guys want to play for their country. That's the bottom line. And I've always been impressed with these guys wanting to. When their NHL season ends, I mean, they're flying halfway across the globe. They go play in Switzerland.
We say it every year. The best tournament, by far, to me, has always been the World Juniors. Right?
Do you follow the World Junior tournament? Oh, that's so cool.
It's the non-professional players playing for the love of the game for their country.
Yeah, occasionally an AHL guy shows up, but mostly it's the college guys.
These are the best hockey players in the world.
Right.
That are playing, and it's obvious on the ice. I mean, I have my neighbor who lives across the street, sports fan, but not a hockey guy, and he stopped me and he was like, "Hey, you watch this Four Nations?" And I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Holy smokes!
Yeah.
What hockey?" I'm like, "Yeah,
and
it's
hockey
the best hockey in the world."
The hockey of the four major sports really needs people talking about the sport to keep driving it up. The other sports have their attendance. Baseball's an aging audience, but they have their crowd. Hockey needs it more than anything else. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, if we want to hear from you, if you have any questions for Austin, 766-1240. When we come back, I got a couple rule changes. I want to see what Austin's opinion is that the Four Nations is doing. Plus, hopefully we have enough time to fix the Boston Bruins. So when we come back, we will do all that here on 1240 AM, 99.5 FM, and OneSocketRadio.com. We'll be back right after this.
ON 1240.
The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasker Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Invista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasker Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, taskerbuickgmc.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasker Buick GMC, you will be satisfied.
Since 1948, their motto has been to give every customer the very best in quality service, as well as attention to detail. And that promise continues today at Michaud's Auto Body, a modern 5-stall facility with the latest in technology. Whenever you have time, please check their website at MichaudAutoBody.com and take a short video tour of their modern facility. It's very interesting. Michaud's Auto Body on Privilege Street, Woonsocket, a second-generation family business. 769-1983.
Looking to beautify your property this fall? Look to A.J. Moran for stonework patios, steps, walkways, plus retaining walls. Looking to beautify your home this fall? A.J. Moran can put veneer stone right on your house to have beautiful looking stone. And if that's not what you want, A.J. Moran can rebuild indoor fireplaces with veneer stone. It's real natural stone. Check out what they can do online, ajmoraninc.com. A.J. Moran.
If you're celebrating a major event, regardless of the reason, Michael's Meats of Cumberland can elevate your next meal from ordinary to extraordinary with meats so good your guests will ask you where you got them. Tell them Michael's Meats. Michael's Meats is in the Walgreens parking lot on Mendon Road in Cumberland, just north of the Ciabro Plaza. They're open Monday through Saturday at 9 a.m., making your next meal truly special. Here's this week's specials at Michael's Meats.
In this week's special at Michael's Meats, they have extra lean sirloin pork cutlets for just $2.77 a pound at Michael's Meats. And welcome back to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin, joined by Austin Rook in studio. And I had a special request to ask you a question, Austin. So we'll go just a little bit out of order. Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins, rumored to be possibly traded. Will he stay in Boston? Had a one-on-one meeting with Don Sweeney right before Game 1 of the Four Nations tournament. What are your thoughts on will the Bruins trade Marchand? Will he be a Ray Bork situation where he goes and plays another year, 2 years with another team, or is he home in Boston?
I don't really see that. I mean, I think he's come out this week and said that he wants to be a Bruin, so he enjoys the organization's commitment to winning and not accepting mediocrity. So I'd be surprised to see something like that.
Yeah. So I wish
a little bit different than the Bork situation, right? I mean, Marchand has a Stanley Cup in Boston.
Yep.
Bork, we never got that. So
right. I mean, he had a chance that they just went up against the best Edmonton teams possible.
Before Gretzky got traded. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. They had no chance of winning the.
What's your take on some of the younger guys, the Merkeloffs, the Lysells?
In Providence, you mean?
Are these guys? I mean, Lysells was highly touted when they drafted him. Mm-hmm. He was highly touted when he was playing in the Junior World Championships. He hasn't necessarily developed at the rate that they wanted him to, I guess. But do you think he has a future in the NHL, or is he a?
It doesn't happen as quickly for everybody as it does for others. There are things where he will pop off, and you'll be like, wow. I mean, that is he is the quickest skater on the team.
Yeah.
So the skill set's there.
The skill set is absolutely there. There's just so many and you guys know this. There's so many nuances to the game of hockey where. And he's playing against a lot of grown men, and this guy is still 21 years old.
Right.
So, he's a young guy. He's a guy that can. He's a 50 point scorer in the league, and he was hurt for a lot of last year, and he had 50 points.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think
he is a guy that can rip off a 10-point week like it's nothing.
Right.
Merkulov has been the guy where that's kind of confusing to me why he hasn't gotten a little bit more of a look. I mean, he's been Providence's most consistent offensive player for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that has played over 100 games in the over 150, I think, AHL games now. I'm not looking at it right in front of me.
Right.
But, he's at a point per game. He scored again last night. Guy's going to score 20 goals in the AHL, and he's going to get probably 45, 50 assists. I mean, this guy's he's centering your top line every night.
Is there a knock on him? Is he undersized?
Yeah,
he
is.
Okay.
He's only 5'10" and probably about 180 pounds is pushing it.
Okay, that's not small.
A guy that only had 2 years of North American hockey before even coming to Providence. I mean, he had 1 year in Youngstown in the USHL, like 1 year in Ohio State, where he played with Mason Lohrei.
Yeah.
But the guy is supremely skilled. He is. He has the one-timer on the power play that we've seen. I think sometimes he's a little bit too unselfish at times, but
you see that with a lot of hockey players. Sometimes they are a little too unselfish.
With Boston sort of desperate for skill, I don't know why they wouldn't give him more of a look than a 3-game cup.
And I look at it as like, is he as good as Morgan Geekie, who is over? I mean, he's had a great season last year. He's starting to come on now this year.
He's been coming on the last three.
But he's playing on the first line with Pasternak, which certainly helps. Or even is he as good as a Charlie Coyle at this time in Charlie's career?
I think and similar to Lysell, I think the defensive part of the game is probably why he hasn't gotten that.
That's
look.
the other part.
His defensive part of his game is getting better. Okay. In Providence, but I think he'd like to see him win a little bit more draws, especially in the D zone. He's not that great at the dot. Improving from where he was 2 years ago, but he's okay. And is he really going to play that two-way game that they desire up there? I don't know.
Right.
He can do it. He can do it. He can do it in the AHL, but can he do it on a consistent basis in the NHL? If the Bruins are sort of still in this level in the next 4 to 6 weeks, why don't you give them a little bit more of a look?
Well, and that's that's the thing too. Is we've talked all season now. The Bruins are, in my opinion, are still looking for their identity, and I don't even know what this Boston Bruins team is. So when you talk about trading Marchand, and they really don't have too many trade chips to go help another team. And what would another team give up? Would it just be draft choices? And then who would the Bruins, if the Bruins are buyers, well, who do they have to quote unquote sell? Unless it's the guys, some of the guys like Merkelov, like Lysell, or is Michael DiPietro. I mean, his numbers are just absolutely through the roof. 1.96 goals against, but I'm a big save percentage guy. His save percentage, 930.
Yeah.
After last night's game.
He's been every bit of ridiculous this year. I mean, he had back-to-back shutouts earlier this month. AHL All-Star for the Atlantic Division.
Him and Michael Callahan.
With Callahan up in Boston, he was the team's only rep that went out to Coachella Valley for the All-Star game in February, and he's been nothing short of exemplary. This year, and he was the same last year too, but this year he's just been ridiculous in a contract year. Nonetheless, I mean, he's been outstanding, and you don't expect anything to get by him. It's fun to watch.
So is he a guy that do you think fits into Boston's plans? You just said it's a contract year. He's a free agent. Corpusalo, he's got a $3 million hit. I don't know if DiPietro, right? $3 million for Corpusalo?
3.5.
3.5. Yeah. I don't know if DiPietro would command 3.5. So maybe a little cheaper option in net to be Swayman's backup. And DiPietro did get called up, I think, for one game when Swayman had an injury. So
he's beaten out a guy in Brandon Bussey. That guy.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, see that being the play.
He's UFA again at the end of the year. So I would it shock me to see them bring him back? I mean, he's revitalized his career since being traded from Vancouver a few years ago.
I mean,
this is a guy that started for Canada at the World Juniors, which you mentioned.
Yeah. That's not a small sample of numbers.
No.
He's like, I think I looked. He's played 26 or 27 games. Bussey's played 20, so he's clearly got he's the number one goalie now in
Yep.
Providence. So not a small sample, and again 930 save percentage. Wow.
Yep.
So
Crazy.
Yeah. So
If he does not win the AHL's top goalie award, which the last 2 years has gone to Dustin Wolf, who's killing it with the Calgary Flames right now.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised.
Okay.
Because he has been, I watch a good amount of AHL hockey, and there has not been a better goalie in the league this year.
Wow. No, that's great. So I got a quick question at the time we have left with back to the Four Nations. 3 points for a win, 2 points for an overtime and shootout win, 1 point for an overtime and shootout loss. Obviously, no points for regulation. I would like to see that in the NHL.
I would too.
All right, Pat.
Yeah.
It would be easy enough to go back and fix the records. Go give the Edmonton Oilers, give some intern. Look it up. What was an overtime win?
Yeah.
What was a regulation win? Give them the proper points so that you can put it in proper perspective. I absolutely love that. It makes the regulation games a little bit more.
They're doing that in the PWHL too,
Correct.
I believe.
They are, yeah. They just started that. Now, I was noticing, and maybe I'm just reading too much into it, the AHL does something a little bit different in their standings. They have overtime losses and then another category for shootout losses. What's the difference, or is there
Zero difference.
There's zero difference.
And depending on how you look at the standings, I mean, sometimes teams will populate it as just one category.
Yeah.
But if you look on the AHL website, it's two, or if you look on official stats that we issue, it's two different categories. But it's
It come down to a tiebreaker or something like that, or
yeah, and if it's
the fifth leg of
it's regulation and overtime / shootout wins. I don't know. I think it creates a little bit more confusion sometimes. But
well, that's what it did for me.
it essentially has no, there's no
Bearing.
difference between the overtime and the shootout
Right.
loss. It's you still get a point.
Okay. And in the Four Nations, they're doing 3-on-3 for 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes in the overtime. Watching Canada Sweden the other day and just seeing how fast Nathan McKinnon is for Canada, it just blew my mind. I knew how great he was. I didn't know he was that fast and with all that open ice, and just not seeing too many of the Colorado games, here too often. What are your thoughts on expanding from 5 to 10 minutes on the 3-on-3?
I don't know if I'd go to 10 minutes. I'd try for maybe like 7 or 8. I think that's small baby steps.
Yeah.
Forward. I don't know if you get the players to sign off on.
I did hear that some of the skaters are against it because they don't. It's tiring. And, and the better players are out there. It's not the fourth line guys. It's the first and second line guys that are out there. However, the goalies are for it because I don't think they like to shoot out.
Yeah, and
I think you're right.
I don't think, if I recall, I don't think Canada played a defenseman. It was
they go with three
three forwards. They might have had Makar out there.
Yeah, and
and actually, speaking of Makar,
defense.
he might not be in tonight's game. I guess he's battling an illness, so they've gotten some go ahead to bring in another player.
Yeah.
From Dallas, a defenseman, to fill in if he can't go.
Okay.
But they had to get the NHL to sign off.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
know there's special rules in place on the rosters being set.
But yeah, I like the format. 10 minutes. Yeah, I guess I could see that being players being.
But I can
like,
see
hey,
the baby steps to 7. Me personally, I'm really tired of the shootouts now. I'm okay if they even went back to ties after they give them a chance.
No
7
ties.
minutes.
No,
you like shootouts?
And you gotta also think about it in like it's great for a short period of time in a tournament. That's we got 4 games we're playing, right? But when you're doing an 82 game season and you potentially could have a back-to-back game where you have 10 minutes, these guys are exhausted.
The pro of the shootout. I mean, you go drop $200 on a ticket up at the Garden. You want to see a winner and a loser, not a tie. So I do get that. So Austin, how can we listen to you or watch you on the Providence Bruins? Was it through the AHL TV? How do we listen?
So AHL TV is part of Flow Hockey now,
Hockey.
which carries a lot of college and junior games, and now the AHL as a whole. That was brand new this year. So it's the AHL TV on Flow Hockey. You can catch me. My next broadcast is tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, playing Bridgeport.
Well, the Islanders are not very good.
No, they are not.
I saw Providence. That's what they played them like 4 times a week.
Providence is 8-0 against Bridgeport this year. They are playing in Bridgeport tonight.
Okay.
And then they will be playing at home, I believe, for the final time already this year. We play each other 10 times, so that'll be tomorrow afternoon's matchup against Bridgeport.
Yeah, I did see back in like January. All of a sudden, Providence started climbing the stand. Like they're playing Bridgeport
a lot. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. But think about where they'd be without all those Bridgeport.
Exactly. Wins, and how many teams make the playoffs in the AHL? Or they're in the Atlantic Division? Is it how do they do the? Playoffs?
We could be here all day talking about the AHL's playoff format. But 23 of the 32 AHL teams make the playoffs.
Well, that makes sense. 23.
6 out of the 8 in the Atlantic Division make it.
6 out of 8. Okay, so 23. Okay,
good luck finding a bye. There's an odd division, right?
Because there's an odd division that has 7 teams, and it's just.
So everyone in.
They just tell you when to show up and do a game.
Yes.
And here's the 2 teams. Here's your press notes.
Yep. Pretty much.
And go from there. Also, maybe when we get closer to the playoffs, maybe you could join us again or call in. Oh, that'd be great.
Always down.
So,
thanks, guys.
Pat, any final comments?
No. Again, thanks to Austin for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, all right. Again, thank you, Austin, coming in. Appreciate it. Gonna have your dad on in a couple weeks, and we got some other guests lined up to join us in the Chief Seats. They're lining up, Pat, to come in and be with us. So, thank you so much for joining us in the Chief Seats here on 1240 AM, 99.5 FM, and WoonSocketRadio.com. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the storm. Watch USA Canada tonight and get permission from the wife. Watch a little Finland, Sweden as well this afternoon. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the